So, but let's get to this. This is, here's my thesis on this. As we head into this weekend, which is rivalry weekend, which is one of the great weekends of the year in college football, as we have the Lane Kiffin drama playing out, the coaching carousel, there is no doubt in my mind that the capital of college football right now, the epicenter of the sport, is the state of Texas. You can say, Indiana, Oregon, Ohio State are real good in the Big Ten. The Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss in the SEC, that Lane Kiffin mess. But do you realize as we head into this final week, 5 teams from Texas have playoff aspirations.
Yep.
5. Only 12 make it, y'all. But 5 of them. 4 control their own destiny. And one of those is Texas A&M, who's already in. So we'll talk about Texas and Texas A&M at the bottom of the hour and Horns at half past. But so those 2 are in the mix. Texas needs help, obviously. But if they beat the Aggies, they at least make their case, and the Aggies are going to be in anyhow. So those are 2 of the 5.
They're on life support. Still
but you
alive.
all realize that SMU now controls its own destiny.
That's the new one.
Possibly to the playoff, because after they crushed Louisville this past Saturday, and they got a major assist from Pitt, who took down Georgia Tech in Atlanta, SMU is now cruising. SMU, if they beat Cal, and everybody beats Cal, they just fired their coach. They will go to the championship game of the American Conference, the AC. And last week the committee had Tulane ranked, right? So they're signaling that the winner of the American Conference will very likely, James Madison's going to be in there too. But I'll get to the North Texas in a minute. That's SMU.
Right.
I'm on to the wrong one. But SMU is peaking at the right time because they're in the ACC. We'll get to the AC. I'm confusing my comments.
The AAC.
The ACC and the AAC.
There you go.
But so here's where SMU is. We're Rhett Lashley, right? Their sophomore quarterback, Kevin Jennings, has thrown for over 300 yards in 3 straight. They're peaking at the right time, and it's no surprise. Lashley is 14-1 in November as a head coach.
Unbelievable.
His Ponies are 22-1 in conference play since the start of 2022. So you got SMU, and they're in this mix, right? If they win the ACC, we've talked about, there's a scenario where they don't get a team, but it's hard to believe that they would leave the ACC out. But it very well built for the second straight year, could be SMU with a chance. Now, they got in as a wild card last year after they lost to Clemson in that championship game. So keep an eye on that. Texas Tech, right? They're going right. They're barreling towards a championship in the Big 12. They've got to beat West Virginia this weekend. If they do that, they'll play BYU again. And Tech is in the top 5 in the country.
Right.
So they're in. So Tech, SMU, and then don't forget about North Texas, the Mean Green. They are firmly in the playoff mix, too, because they demolished Rice this past weekend, 56-24. Vandergrift's own Austin Vandergrift's Drew Mestemaker threw for 469 yards and 3 touchdowns. And remember, the committee, as we said, had Tulane ranked last week. So that signals to me that the winner of the American Conference is going to be possibly the top G6 rep in the playoff. James Madison would have an argument, but American's got a little more glamour conference. And if you win the conference, if North Texas beats
Tulane.
Well, first they've got to beat somebody terrible. Rutgers is who are they playing? They're playing Temple this weekend.
Correct.
And Temple's bad. So if they beat Temple, then they would play Tulane, and Tulane is ranked. So if North Texas were to beat Tulane,
right? Tulane plays Charlotte.
Right.
I think they can take care of business there.
That might catapult North Texas into the top of the group of 5, because they would beat a ranked Tulane team. And so Mean Green are in there, just north of the. So SMU, North Texas, Texas Tech. And we'll get to Texas and Texas A&M at the bottom of the hour, but there is no doubt. I mean, you're talking about Red Raiders, the Mustangs, the Mean Green, possibly the Longhorns, and certainly the undefeated Aggies. You got 5 teams.
Right. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. OT hour, we came up, what if there's a world where 5 teams get in, and even if there is 4, and it's not Texas of all the teams, that's just a crazy thing to think. Because SMU, man, they've crept up in that ACC where Georgia Tech is now out of it. Virginia controls their own destiny to punch their ticket if they can beat Virginia Tech. But SMU has just been plugging away. Their only 2 losses, funny enough. Well, actually, they have 3 losses, one being to Wake Forest. The other 2 opponents from the state of Texas that are in the Big 12. That'd be Baylor and Texas Christian, which is unbelievable.
That's the thing, because SMU could win out and upset the apple cart. Because if they're as a 3-loss team,
right,
and they're not going to beat possibly a ranked ACC team in the tournament or in the ACC championship game. Would they then be the champion and the representative, but they'd be behind both North Texas or Tulane and James Madison, which would mean the ACC wouldn't get a team.
Yeah,
and the Ponies would make their case, but they're not going to beat a ranked team to get there. It doesn't appear.
Miami, they did beat them. That's their big win. And then if Virginia is to beat Virginia Tech, then that's another ranked team. So that would be, I guess,
true.
their case. That would be the case.
But a 3-loss ACC champion,
Right.
would you get it over a 1-loss James Madison or a 1-loss North Texas? Who would be ranked higher?
Right. Well, one of those two will get in, North Texas or James Madison, if they were to win
both.
out.
If
both. Right.
How do they break that down between SMU and of course, Miami really can't do much about this right now.
No, they can't. It's just hilarious to be. And SMU
can't get there. They can't get to the championship.
And SMU has the head on, right? I mean, that's the thing is they just knock them right out because they have the head on. It's funny that SMU was waiting in the corners as we saw them lose to, like I said, Baylor early on in the year, and they lost the Iron Skillet, and here they are. In the ACC, baby.
Yeah, well, it's only a 12-team playoff, and the state of Texas has 5 teams that are still in. I know Texas is an outside shot, but at the same time, if they beat A&M. And I heard people talking yesterday about 3-loss teams, but if you have 3 wins over top 10 teams, that at least is a case. It's not just that the Longhorns are a big brand and that the committee would want to put them in there and ESPN would want them in there. It's that they have 3 strong, top 10 wins. No one else has that.
Right. That win against A&M, if they win it, could be the best win in college football.
Yeah, for sure. And Michigan would have the same case if they beat Ohio State in Ann Arbor on Saturday. So that's where we are, man. A lot of compelling drama to play.